Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and tonight I want to talk about the movie Drive-In Massacre from 1976. Now this is a movie very similar to stuff like Twitch of the Death Nerve and Black Christmas and The Redeemer. It's very similar to those in the sense that it's a proto-slasher. This is the type of movie that had some slasher elements going on before the big boom of the early 80s, you know, after Halloween and Friday the 13th came out. Then it became a cash cow and the slasher subgenre really took off. It just skyrocketed and the movies were just being made at an accelerated rate at that point. But this movie was made in 1976, so it came before that big rush. And you know, I think it's really cool. This is a fun B movie. It's not as serious as a movie like, you know, Black Christmas, where that's a real serious, elegant, classy thriller, you know, and it doesn't have the grim tone of a movie like The Redeemer. That's another excellent one. Drive-In Massacre just really excels at being a fun movie. This is one that's a light-hearted watch, and it has some good, gruesome killings. The way they dish out the murder scenes in this movie, they keep them coming in the sense that this movie never gets boring. And it's always nice to find a good 70s horror flick that keeps you enthralled all the way through and doesn't lag. Now my history with this movie is I really neglected it for a long time. I've always been aware of this film. You know, I used to read about it in all the horror film review books, and also I would put it on occasionally, whether it be on a VHS or a DVD budget pack. You know, they always had it. And but every time I put it on, the prints were just so dark and it just looked like shit. Half the time you couldn't tell what was going on, and it didn't do the movie justice. So, you know, some movies you can watch a shitty print of it and still get something out of it. But with this movie, it really hindered the experience. So that's why I'm glad that Severin recently put it out on Blu-ray and DVD, because let me tell you, it's a revelation seeing this movie in a cleaned up fashion. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're still gonna see, it's still a gritty 70s horror flick, but at least now you can tell what's going on. At least now it doesn't look blurry and dark. At least now you get some fucking clarity so you can enjoy it much more. So recently when I revisited the movie again, I have a newfound appreciation for this movie. So I hold it up a lot higher than I used to. So let's get into what this movie is about. First of all, the title says it all, Drive-In Massacre. We've got a drive-in somewhere out in California, okay? And patrons keep getting slaughtered. At the very beginning, you see this couple in a car, and the guy is sitting there with this girlfriend, and the funny thing is we have a role reversal here. Usually in horror movies, it's the guy that wants to make out with the girl. You know, he wants to get her in the back seat and get to fucking mighty quick. You know, he could give a shit less about the movie. He wants to fuck. But in this case, it's the girl. She wants to do it, but the guy, he's like, hey, this is one of my favorite movies. At least let me see the beginning of this motion picture, okay? You can wait. I'll be feeling up your tits here in just a few minutes, but let me watch the beginning of this fucking movie. So that's what he tells his girlfriend. So as he's reaching out the goddamn car, he's reaching for the sound thing, you know, the thing that you'd put by your car so you could hear what the fuck was going on in the film. As he's reaching for it, someone has a sword and they cut his head clean off. And then, after his head gets cut off, the sword then goes through the girl's throat and kills her. So, here we got a nice, gruesome beginning to this film. You get two killings right off the bat. You got a decapitation, you got someone getting stabbed in the throat. So that's how you start a slasher flick. Now, the next day, two police officers are on the case, and they go over to the drive-in grounds, and they begin to question the general manager of the place, and his name is Austin Johnson. Austin is this really mean, bald dude. He's really pissed off at the world, and he especially hates running this drive-in. Let me tell you, he can't stand the sleazy patrons. He basically looks at this place like it's just a fucking whorehouse. He even says to the people people as they come to see the movie. He says, why can't you just stay at home and fuck? Why do you gotta come here to my goddamn drive-in and screw in the back seat? You know, this guy, he's a real bully. But there's something about him that I find endearing. Just the way, I don't know, I can kind of relate to his no-nonsense attitude. He seems like a hard-working guy, but he doesn't take any shit off of anybody. And he really strikes me as someone that's just in a situation that he can't stand, but he still works as hard as he can, and he's just tired of all the bullshit. So they ask Austin a few questions and try to learn some stuff. They also investigate, and there's another guy that's a possible suspect that cleans the grounds. He's this really dorky little guy, and he used to work, when the drive-in used to be a carnival, he was a sword swallower, and he also bit the heads off of snakes and all kinds of stupid shit like that. And so they ask him questions. And then after they question him, they come to find out that there could also be a third suspect. And this guy is a peeping Tom. This guy likes to come every time they show a movie, and he likes to get out of his goddamn car. And while couples are in their car having sexual intercourse, he likes to go right up to the goddamn window and beat his meat. Let me tell you, this guy likes to peek right through the damn window, just 2 feet away from the couple, alright, and whip his dick out and jack off. Now, you gotta have some nerves of steel to do some shit like that. I mean, that is one sick pervert to go that far. I mean, I can kind of picture some weird-ass peeping Tom, spying on people from a distance using binoculars or some shit like that. But when you're literally going up to the passenger side window and whipping out your cock and watching a couple, in their car, man, this guy's nuts. So right now we have 3 suspects the cops are seriously looking at. They're looking at Austin, the manager, the bald dude. They're looking at the dorky dude who likes to clean up the grounds, and they're looking at this peeping Tom. So we go through the rest of the movie, and more murders ensue, and the cops just continue to get nowhere. They can't figure out who the hell is doing it. So that's the plot in a nutshell, and let me tell you, this movie ain't that long. It's only like an hour and 14 minutes, so it goes by pretty quickly. And I mean, if you're sitting with someone else and watching this movie and making jokes in between each scene, it goes even faster than that. Let's break it down. Let me tell you some quibbles I have with the plot, and I'll give you a general overview, my final assessment. First of all, murder after murder takes place in this film. Like I said, at the beginning, you got someone getting their damn head chopped off. Then you got a woman getting a sword right through her throat. Then you have a couple get shish kebabbed, where the killer puts a sword right through 2 people at once. Which, by the way, I think is a cheat. I hate it when they do that in movies. It's okay, I guess, in something like Twitch of the Death Nerve and Friday the 13th Part 2, because you have the naked couple laying on the bed. So you get a little bit of that sleazy aspect. But in a movie like this, where the people are fully clothed, and then also in Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, when that couple goes and gets on the motorcycle and they're gonna leave, they're gonna get the hell out of there because the guy just saw Jason, and you know how Jason comes over and rams the machete right through him? I just think those kind of killings are a cheat. Because instead of getting one person dispatched in one fashion and then the other person dispatched in a different grisly fashion, you're getting it just boom, and it's over. I think that's a goddamn cheat. So anyway, you get a shish kebabbed couple in here, you get, more decapitations, and you get more people with their throats getting slit. You get all that kind of gruesome stuff. And it just continues to happen, but here's the catch. Why do people keep coming back to the goddamn drive-in? I don't know about you, but if I heard that a drive-in was having an issue with a murderous psychopath on the loose, and every time they showed a movie people were dropping dead, I would stay the fuck away from there. How the hell could you feel comfortable, alright, making love to your goddamn girlfriend or your wife? How could you get comfortable running your hands up her nice set of tits if you thought your head was gonna get lopped off at any damn minute? You couldn't enjoy it, alright? Knowing that some maniac could take a sword and slice you in half doesn't make sense. So people keep showing up. Where's the panic? Where's the concern? First of all, the people should be aware of what's going on. I'm sure that this stuff is getting out into the news outlets in the fictional town that this is going on. You gotta know, there's no way they can cover something like this up and keep it quiet, okay? So why are people still coming to this drive-in? Does that make any sense? I mean, they keep showing up. I can understand if it only happened once. It was just an isolated incident. But let me tell you, there are plenty of people that get offed in this movie. They get their goddamn heads cut right off. And the patrons keep lining up to see the movie at this drive-in. That does not make sense. Also, it doesn't make sense that they just don't shut it down. Like, the authorities don't say, hey, you can't, this place has to be shut down for right now. This is a crime scene and this is an investigation going on here. All right? So listen to me, you bald piece of shit. I don't care that you make your livelihood and money here. There are people dying and you need to put this shit on hold so we can find out who the damn culprit is. So the cops need to put a lid on this. That doesn't make sense that they just keep letting it happen over and over again. Now, another quibble I have with the plot line of this movie. I know it's a stereotypical thing that in the old days, people would go to the drive-in and they would get down and dirty. Couples would get together and they would make out, and possibly it would even lead to more, all right? Possibly a guy would get to go all the way with his girlfriend or wife or whatever the hell. But in this movie, it kind of stretches that theme to the point where it just becomes kind of outrageous. Every couple in this movie wants to fuck. And I really don't understand that, and here's why. Me personally, in a car, there are windows, all right? You got a window in front, you got side windows, you got the back window. Who the hell feels comfortable having sex out in plain sight? I don't care that it's nighttime, alright? There are cars all around you. You really want to be having full-fledged intercourse with people walking across the front, walking to the side, going to the concession stand? You want to whip your dick out and have everybody looking at it? You want people seeing your girl? You want people seeing her ass, seeing her tits swinging in the damn air? Does that really make you comfortable? Okay? That doesn't make sense to me. I can understand, you know, like some horny couple that doesn't have enough money for a hotel room, okay? And they don't have a place where they can go back and get some privacy. You can see that kind of happening once in a while. But it seems like everyone at this fucking drive-in, it came there exclusively to have sex. Keep in mind, I love that. I think it's hilarious. So it's not really a quibble. I just think that it's unrealistic. But within the confines of this movie, it works very well, and I think it's very, very funny. Now, as far as everything else, like I said earlier about the special effects, I think they're a lot of fun. I like them. They're that cheap, primitive 70s style stuff. You got some nice blood spillage here. The decapitation scenes, the way they shoot them, you know, things happen fast, and they do some fast edits where they'll show like a severed head on the ground and a pool of blood, and it just looks really cool. So I like the effects for what they are. They're not state of the art, but they are good. They get the job done. As far as the way this movie looks, man, if you watch this new print that Severin put out, you know, from the original camera negative, it really looks good, and I just love the look of this movie now. I love that 70s look. I love that vintage 70s horror film look. I love the atmosphere of this movie. You really feel like you're at a drive-in somewhere, at a sleazy drive-in in a horror movie. This is the type of movie I can easily immerse myself in, and it feels like the hour and 14 minutes just zips right by. Now, to wrap everything up, is this movie an all-time classic? Is it a movie that you would take seriously? Like you would something like Black Christmas or The Redeemer, for instance, two other 70s, you know, slasher classics. No, you would not take it seriously. This movie isn't the same vein, alright? This movie is funny, okay? It's a fun movie, it's lighthearted, and it's just the type of thing, it's a good B-horror film. So anyway, I recommend everybody, if you're into, you know, 70s horror, you gotta check out Drive-In Massacre. Even if you're like me and you've been neglecting it for a long time and you'd only watch it in bits and pieces but never really give it its full due, you gotta sit down and watch watch it from start to finish. Check it out, man. Drive-In Massacre is a really fun slice of 70s horror. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll be seeing you again next time.